guess.
Maybe you should be sorry for flirting with a married woman. If I were you, that's what I'd be sorry for.
You flirted with me too.
You asked me to dance.
And we had fun. Didn't we have fun? Am I remembering the night wrong?
It doesn't matter if we had fun, it's wrong.
Why?
Maybe you don't care about my marriage, but I do. It's important to me not to be stepping out with some man.
Were you gonna say cripple?
I wasn't going to say that.
That's what it looked like you were gonna say.
Well, what if I did say that?
I had a great time with you. I really liked you, and I thought you really liked me. I'm sorry if I pushed things too far. I haven't had a lot of experience with girls, so maybe I made a mistake. But I won't bother you anymore. Change your mind, you know where to find me.
Dear Lucky, I'm not going to mail this letter because I don't know how it'll get to you, so I'm going to keep it here in Wisconsin and give it to you when you get back. I miss you. It feels like half of my ribs are missing. Sometimes I feel like I can't even take a deep breath without shattering like glass. It's tough for me, but I know it's got to be 100 times as tough for you. But I want you to make it, all right? Because even though you can't read this right now, I want you to make it through the war, whatever it takes. Because I don't tell you this enough, but I love you like crazy. Love, Barbara.
Thanks for dinner, by the way. I was getting kind of tired of ravioli.
Don't mention it. I don't ever get to cook for anyone, so I figured it'd be fun.
Yeah, the kitchen in these houses are less than spectacular.
Well, they threw these apartments up in about a week. I'm just glad there's a roof. When I was growing up, we didn't have a roof.
You didn't?
We didn't have a lot.
That's too bad.
For 2 years, we lived out of a car.
Oh.
When I was real young, my father had a little store, but then that went out of business, so we had nothing. I remember I stole a pair of shoes. We were staying out near a lake, and this girl and her family had gone swimming, and I just took her shoes. They didn't even fit. My father was so angry, I made up this lie, but he knew. For a moment, I was sure he was going to beat me, make me take them back, humiliate me, but he didn't. He just said okay. And that's when I knew.
Knew what?
He'd given up. I was maybe 9 years old, and he hung himself a few months later.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is. After he was gone, things got a little bit better, but I still think about those shoes. I still feel awful about stealing them. The first thing I did when I got my own checking account was buy myself a pair. You know, there's something holy about having your own money. It's like every day I'm filled with this brilliant white light, and that light is called dignity.
To dignity.
Dignity. Speaking of which, I talked to Chester.
Anything.
Like talking to a wall.
He's a coward. And I'm sure he doesn't make the decisions anyway. I'm sure it comes from somebody higher up, but he's such a chicken, he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers.
Right.
I think you should fight him.
That didn't work out so well for me last time.
Not with your fist, you goof. With your brain. You're 10 times smarter than he is on his best day. Outsmart him.
Maybe, if I just dress like a man, they'll be confused and pay me more.
Never realized there was a trouser bonus before.
There's a trouser bonus for lots of things. That's why they don't want us wearing them. I should probably let you get ready for work. I'm supposed to train another boy at the cutting house today who's still getting paid more than me.
You should refuse.
Not sure that's a possibility.
You'd be surprised what the possibilities are.
The letter came a few days later. Dear Miss Murray, the editors at Amazing Stories have finished reviewing your story, The Barbarian Queen of Mars. Although there is much to recommend, we feel that our readers would not respond to the melodramatic elements of the story, seeing as though they show an overly feminine imagination. I started writing something new. Dear idiots, perhaps it is too much to hope that you remove your heads from your behinds, seeing as though you've lived most of your life this way. You're unlikely to change now. However, I shall use my overly feminine imagination to suggest other places where you can stick your wisdom. Martian Queen do? And I started writing a new story, The Dragon Enchantress of Mars. Are you coming to the meeting?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm heading over now.
All right. You coming tonight?
Said I would be. Got any word on,
John.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure they'll rescue him soon. Italy's almost finished.
Thanks. How's your husband?
He's in Australia. Just think about that. Been in Wisconsin his whole life, and now he's on the other side of the world.
Yeah, our dream honeymoon, if we had $1 million, we were going to go to Rome. Now I figure he's had enough of Italy.
How do you do it?
What else am I going to do? Cry all day? My worrying ain't going to help him none.
Do you love your husband?
Of course.
But how did you know? Okay, so when me and Matt first started dating, I thought he was wonderful, and he was putting his best foot forward. But then he got drafted, and is your husband nice to you?
Yes.
Maybe I'm just being stupid.
No, hey, you're not being stupid. I'm sure Matt is under a lot of pressure right now. All of them in life. And that might make them act in certain ways that might not normally act.
Right.
But John has always supported me, and he respects me, and he's kind to me. Because that's just who he is, you know what I'm saying? It's a part of his bones. And I see some couples, I don't know anything about you and Matt, but I see some couples where the husband is not kind. And you deserve someone who's kind to you.
Okay.
I do know one thing. The war is not going to make him any better.
So what do I do?
Is he cool to you? Has he hit you?
Not yet.
He drinks?
It's probably my
It's your
fault.
fault that he drinks?
I haven't always been a good wife, so when he gets angry, it's because I fouled things
It's not
up.
your fault.
But what if it is?
It's not.
You know, at the dance, I was dancing with another boy,
You can dance with other boys.
and Matt heard about
Rose,
it.
You didn't do anything wrong, okay? You didn't do anything wrong. I saw you that night.
Okay.
You're always so worried about what he wants, you never think about what you want. You exist, Rose. You have a right to exist. What do you want?
I don't know.
In the deepest part of your heart, what do you want?
I want him not to come home. That's just awful, isn't it? I know it makes me a horrible person, but that's what I think about. Sometimes I imagine that black car pulling up to my little house and for them to say to me, "We're so sorry, ma'am, but your husband was killed in combat." That makes me just the worst, doesn't it? I hate myself sometimes. And
You're all right. You're human.
so ugly what goes on in my head.
Hey, are you gals coming to the meeting?
We'll be there.
Thanks for coming, everyone. What's this about? Are we all here?
Just about.
Okay, so I've talked to a bunch of men and I've talked to a bunch of you, and it's pretty clear what's going on. We're getting paid less than men. We all do the same job. Sometimes they just get fancier titles when they're doing the same thing, but mostly we just get paid less. And I know it's kind of rude to even talk about, but somebody has to. I tried bringing it to Chester's attention. He did not care. He basically told me if I didn't like it, I could quit. We're half the workers here at Badger, and most of the workers on the third shift. If we wanted to, we could bring this plant to its knees.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about going on strike. All the girls.
You're
Crazy. Ridiculous. There's 5,000 women working at Badger. We are the blood that keeps this factory alive. They can't fire us. There's no way they can find near enough replacement workers. They need us.
I don't want to talk. Let her talk.
Nobody's asking me to quit your job. Nobody quits. It's a strike. And if we all do it, they can't tell us no. This is what the men did in every other industry. They organized, they formed unions, and they fought. And you know what they got? Better hours, better wages, better conditions, and they won because they were unified. They fought against injustice. They fought for their lives.
You think you're fighting for your life? What about our boys fighting for theirs?
I'm not talking about that right
Yes.
now, but you are.
Because we make the powder that helps them fight, and you're asking us to put that supply off.
Management will cave.
And what if they don't? What if we have to spend weeks on strike? Months? What if there's some man out there fighting for his life and needs what we're giving him?
They will be all
I
right.
don't know that.
There are other factories in this country producing ammunition,
But we are the biggest one and they depend on us.
which is why they will cave quickly.
You were playing a game with people's lives. You were playing a game with my husband's life.
This is our chance.
For what?
For equality, to not be treated like second-class humans. Before this, you couldn't get a job, you couldn't get a loan, you couldn't buy a car or a house without having some man vouch for you. Well, we've got jobs now. We deserve to be paid the same.
We're in this together.
Then why aren't they paying us the same? They want you to believe in sacrifice while they squeeze every dollar out of
You
us.
think that they aren't sacrificing? You think that my husband, who is sitting in an Italian prison camp right now, isn't sacrificing for you? You're talking about money. I'm talking about life.
You think this just happened? There was a room where a bunch of men sat down and decided that we weren't worth as much. That was a decision that was made. And I think that decision stinks. Not only does it stink, it's unfair, it's unethical, and they will keep doing it if we let them get away with it. We've got our leverage now. This is our chance. They can't tell us no. We just have to demand our rights.
And if people die, so be it.
That's not on us. That is their choice.
You're asking me to gamble my husband's life for a couple of cents an hour.
I'm asking you to fight for what's right.
I want to get paid the same, Irene. Of course I do. But more than that, I want my husband to be safe. And even more than that, I want this war to end. And if we stop production at this plant, then the war goes on longer. And more men die. And more women and children die. And we give our enemies the breath of life. I love this country. And I believe in our mission. I'm going to keep helping.
I wish our country believed in you as much as you believe in it.
Their needs are life and death.
And ours aren't?
It's either everyone or it's no one. So let's take a vote on it. Majority rules.
I'm not striking, no matter the vote.
Barbara.
I'm not striking, Irene.
All right, if you want to go on strike until we're paid the same as the men, raise your hands. So that's it then?
After the war, we can fight for equality.
After the war, we've already lost.
Italy's zero hour has arrived. The Allies, with mighty air armadas, have launched devastating raids on all remaining ports on the Messina Triangle, bombing all important transportation lines and airfields.
What are you doing here?
Thought I might ride the bus with you to work. A girl can't ride a bus? I wanted to be friends. I miss talking to you, that's all.
I was talking to you. You're not yelling at me.
I didn't yell at you.
You raised your voice.
I wouldn't call that yelling. That was forceful discussion.
Okay. I appreciate your forceful discussion.
Sure.
So let me ask you a question.
Oh boy.
Don't even know what the question is.
I can guess what it is.
It's a good question.
Ask it.
I said, run away with me tonight. Never look back. Would you do it? That was a good question.
No, Timothy, that is not. I will not run away with you. Tonight.
You said you'd never been out of Wisconsin. Well, I have a cousin in Milwaukee. You might be able to put us up for a while, and there's plenty of jobs.
Milwaukee is still in Wisconsin.
I know that, but it's close to not being in Wisconsin. Visit Illinois on my trips.
Timothy.
Because I think I love you.
You think you love me?
Pretty sure.
How about this? Let's get to know each other first because I'm done with running from one man I barely know to the next man I barely know. And if we still want to run off together, then we'll see.
We'll see is better than anything I've gotten before.
It's the first time I haven't said yes. So, would you like to get some coffee before work? It's terrible.
I would love to have terrible coffee.
Every day I went to work. What else was I going to do? Standing in the mix house, keep the machine of production going, one tiny cog in the arsenal of democracy.
The storm breaks in full final fury on the German Rhine. Swiftly exploding successes, the three American divisions smash into the battered town of Cologne.
It felt like we were fighting too. We were doing our part.
The end drew closer. You could trace the movement in the newspaper, from island to island. I imagine my husband out there, somewhere in the Pacific. He kept dreaming, the paychecks kept coming. You kept at it.
And every day, you imagined he was going to walk through the door.
Hey, honey.
Oh my God.
I'm so fragile.
You're not fragile, you big lummox. You're skin and bones.
Italian cooking's overrated.
I just think,
I'm home.
Oh God, I missed you so much. I missed you like half my ribs were gone.
I wish you like my whole summer was gone. Let me see you. You're wearing pants? I ain't never seen you in pants before.
I'm gonna wear a dress to an ammunition factory.
I bet you're the prettiest girl there.
We all wear coveralls and scarves. It's not exactly the runway.
You're still knocking dead.
And I bet you were the prettiest soldier than me.
You know it.
I think Julie's asleep, but let's go wake her up.
I'm real proud of you.
I'm proud of you. Let's go get Julie, and for heaven's sake, can we please move out of your parents' house?
You paying for it?
20 minutes later, I heard it.
I was outside when it happened, on my way to the mix house. I felt it before I could see it. Like all the air had been sucked away, I remember my feet slipping on the ground like a hole had opened up in the air behind me. Then a wave of a force hit me so hard, all I saw was red, and I was face down in the grass.
It felt like a bomb. They couldn't have reached us, could they? The whole building shook like an earthquake. Barrels tipped over, 50-pound tubs of material tossed into the air, and then everything went dark. I could hear shouts, and I rushed outside. You could still see the plume of smoke in the air like a mushroom cloud.
I thought about Grace. I knew she was in the mix house, and the explosion came from that direction, so I rushed outside. In the dark, you couldn't tell who was who. Everyone was wearing the same thing. Everyone had a mask on, their hair covered. I started pulling at people, trying to find her. I was supposed to be there in the mix house, but I had taken a break, and I was walking outside. The stars were out, and I was lost in them. And then I felt a wave pass through me like a sudden wind, and I fell to the ground to see a plume of smoke rising against the stars. I started feeling things landing on me, and I realized it was bits of the nitrocellulose falling on me like snow in August.
My ears didn't work. I didn't realize I was only seeing red in front of everything like the after image from the explosion. I didn't even recognize her face.
The explosion came from the cutting house, where Eleanor was. But then I saw her. She was on break, which meant her shift was being covered. And I knew. There wasn't a body. There was 6,000 pounds of nitroglycerin in there. When it exploded, it blew a hole 20 feet deep and 80 feet wide. 4 men were inside. 4 men vanished in a heartbeat. They sent workers to try to recover the remains. Of the 4 men, they found 24 pounds of flesh. I kept looking. When everyone wears the same thing, it was so easy to think I was seeing him. I kept hoping I'd see his face on every man that turned towards me. I thought I had so much time. So many days ahead of us. Bus rides, talks. I think I loved him. I never told him that because I didn't want him to think he had it made, you know? So we didn't know. Someone loved him. That it was possible. I should have told him.
The doctor said there's no long-term damage to her eyes, but she was pretty close to the blast.
Do they know what happened?
One spark. One of the engineers said it could have been a rusty wheel on one of the engine parts. That was enough. Said it was a miracle it hadn't happened before now.
A miracle?
Yeah. Excuse me.
So much for being an actress, huh?
You can still be an actress.
You see a lot of starlets that are blind?
Just wear a lot of dark glasses. It could be your look.
If you say so.
A few weeks later, we got word.
Your jobs are done. Thank you for your service. You can all go back home now.
What do you mean our jobs are done?
The war's almost over and we're shutting down the plant. You can pick up your final paycheck at the front office.
That's it?
What do you want? You knew this was temporary. Work till the job's done, and the job's done. Now you can all go back home and be housewives the way you're supposed to be.
What if I don't want that?
Not my problem.
We're all fired?
Think of it like being returned to the lives you were made for.
Screw that.
Huh, I wish I could see better so I could tell one go more accurately.
Figures. They don't want us anymore, so they just throw us in the trash. So what now?
If I left here tomorrow, would anyone go with me?
Where are you going?
Out of Wisconsin. I'm not waiting. Life's too short to wait around.
I could use a ride to Hollywood.
Done. That's not far.
That's about as far as you can go.
I'm past the point of caring about geography.
And I'm coming too. We can pool our money.
There's a magazine there. And I heard they're starting a new film school.
You want to be in movies?
No, I'm gonna write movies.
Well, does anyone have a car?
I'll sell you mine.
You're not gonna come?
I have a 2-year-old and a husband who just got back from a POW camp.
Still.
I'll visit.
Well,
To the future.
the future.